Well, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video, as I'm going to be discussing with you how to get a breakthrough in your life. And to kickstart this video, I'm going to be reading to you from the book of Romans, chapter 8, verses 5 through 8, which says, "Those who live according to the flesh have their mind set on what the flesh desires, but those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their mind set on what the Spirit desires. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those who are in the realm of the flesh cannot please God." That Bible passage that I just read focuses so much on your mindset. And many times as people, we have this mindset that one day everything is going to work out. We'll tell ourselves, one day I'm going to beat that addiction. One day I'm going to get in the shape of my life, start going to the gym and eating healthy. One day I'm going to stop watching pornography. Or one day I'm going to get that job of my dreams. Or one day I'm going to get the house that I desire or the car that I desire. Or one day I'm going to get the family of my dreams. And we tell ourselves that one day all of these things are going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with saying one day everything is going to work out. But when breakthrough truly happens, it's when we stop telling ourselves one day, but switch those two words and tell ourselves day one. There was a point in my life where I was praying to God for breakthrough to get off of drugs. There was a 2.5-year span in my life where I was addicted to prescription painkillers. And at the height of my addiction, I was doing over 200 milligrams of oxycodone a day. The reason it took me 2.5 years to get a breakthrough is because I did not have the right mindset. I told myself for the longest time that I could do the bare minimum and tiptoe my way to sobriety. I would tell myself, you could slowly wean yourself off, or, oh, it's okay, Nick, you could just do it this one time, it'll be fine, no big deal. And each time I was telling myself lies, it just made my situation harder and harder for myself. But in order for me to truly receive breakthrough, I had to stop telling myself, one day I'm gonna get sober, but instead flip those words and say, today is day one that I'm going to get sober. When I was truly committed to sobriety, there was a moment where I was on my bed and I was bawling my eyes out, crying, praying to God that He would give me a new life, help me get sober. And as I was saying this powerful prayer, I felt tingles that started in my head and zipped all the way down into my stomach. My whole body began to start and tremble and vibrate. And in that moment, I felt the Holy Spirit come upon me. And that very next day, I went to a detox center, was committed to getting sober, was committed to facing the withdrawal. And until I told myself that it was day one that I was going to start my road to sobriety, that's when I truly noticed that I was making changes in my life and I was receiving a breakthrough. In John chapter 21, it talks about how 7 of the disciples were out fishing. And Jesus approached the disciples as they were fishing and told them to cast their net onto the other side. When they casted their net on the other side that Jesus told them to, they were able to find 153 fish and pull them onto the boat. Many times in our lives, the breakthrough that we're praying to God for is right in front of us. But we're too stubborn and focused on being like the disciples who were fishing on the one side of the boat. But all Jesus said was, hey, take that net and put it to the other side. And when the disciples just made that small little switch, they were able to get an abundance of fish. Many times we prohibit ourselves from that breakthrough because we keep listening to our bodies too much. We tell ourselves, I'm hungry, I'm craving that food, I'm craving that drug fix, I'm craving some pornography, and we just crave and want and need. But when our mind isn't connected to our body, but instead connected to our spirit, that's when we're able to walk in God's presence and be able to be fully submitted to God's plan and God's will for us in our lives. Sometimes in life you don't realize this until somebody tells you, but over 99% of the conversations that you have are actually with yourself. The words that we speak over ourselves, whether it's verbally or in our minds, are so incredibly powerful. And many times we don't get the breakthrough we want because we allow anxiety, depression, worry, and doubt to reside rent-free in our heads. Unfortunately, however, with breakthrough, There is always going to be some battle that you are going to have to barrel and fight through. Just like with me, even though I felt the Holy Spirit come upon me when I was praying to God to get off of drugs, I still had to face the battle of fighting withdrawal. One thing that God does not do is take away your problems. God's not a genie where we can just snap our fingers and say, God, pull this away, and he does it. But what God can do, and what God promises us, is that he will give you the strength to endure and fight through any circumstance that is put in front of you. We all can receive miracles and breakthrough here on earth. Just like as Christians, how we're all against abortion, many times we actually abort the plans that God has for us here on earth. One word that is always associated with pregnancy is also pain. There's different cramps that you're feeling in your stomach as the baby starts to get bigger, and the most amount of pain happens right before the baby is born. And the one thing that is for certain is that even though the pain that women go through while they're giving birth is excruciating, the reward is always worth it in the end when they're holding their beautiful baby child. No matter what you are pregnant with spiritually, whether it's anxiety, depression, worry, doubt, addiction, whatever your situation is, do not abort the plans that God has for you, because you do not know what God has in store on the other side of your pain. So to wrap up this video, I want to leave you with this. We all have that one thing that we're praying to God for that big breakthrough. And I urge you to not give up. Just like the disciples, the answer is right in front of your face. All you have to do is twist that mindset. Stop telling yourself one day and start telling yourself day one. Because the Lord loves you way too much for you to fail and to crumble. But put on the full armor of God and let's go to battle. Let's go to war. Let's fight the demons that are in front of us, because God is with you. God is by your side. And if God is for you, then who could be against you? Thank you for watching. If you want to stay plugged into my ministry here on YouTube, I ask that you smash the subscribe button, as we are on the road to 1 million subscribers. And if you are somebody that is praying to God for a breakthrough and wants to start today, put day one in the comments. And if you feel that this video can impact somebody in a positive way, I ask that you share this video with them. God bless to you, and I will see you again in the next video.